So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today, the topic is Ton Corp Acoustique, your acoustic body, and this is a free introduction for the class, what it is about. But like everyone who attends, you all responded and you had a question, so we will go through the questions. But maybe before the questions, I would like to say a few words about what is this class about. And one of the things is like actually who we are as infinite beings. You know, we've heard it so many times that we are infinite beings and we have infinite capacities. And so how it works that you have a body, plus you have the being. That's who you are. So I would rather say it like there is no such thing as you, the being, and the body, but you are the being. And one of the problem is that however we are infinite beings, we don't function as an infinite being. We don't function from that space. You know, like there are so many situations during the day, and in each situation, we function from a different level of consciousness. Sometimes we are more present, we are more conscious, sometimes we are less. And that's it. But at the same time, we are still infinite beings and we have all that capacity. We have the capacities, we just don't use it. Mostly we don't know we could use it. We don't know how to use these capacities. All good? All good. Okay. So, and the amazing thing is that we have a body. And I think most people have the same problem with their body, that we were all parented and educated in a way that the body is sort of like a limitation. It has only one lifetime. It doesn't live very long. I mean, it lives longer than like a couple of 100 years ago, but it's mainly because of the improved health care or yeah. But anyway, most of the people sees their body as a limitation because it's not very flexible. It can be easily infected by bacteria or viruses. There are so many illnesses that people can have. So let's say there are many dangers that could make you die quickly. But there is another part of the body, let's say another dimension of the body that we don't really use. And this is the acoustic body. And so what is acoustic body? And what is the acoustic wave? Actually, the acoustic wave is the nature of the infinite being. It's the nature of who we are. Again, one of the problems is that we don't function from this nature. So what it means that the acoustic wave actually represents the space of infinite possibilities. And imagine that if we were always functioning from infinite possibilities, at least with the body. But we look at the body and we function from a huge limitation. We function from that the body cannot heal faster or quicker. The body, again, it's not flexible, it's aging quickly, it has all kinds of problems. But we infinite beings, you know, we are infinite. So the body doesn't match the being's reality. But actually, it is not true. It was just not told to us how we can, let's say, activate the body into acoustic body. So it's sort of like a different way how the body can work. So the body was created in a way that it has the capacity to embody the infinite being's capacity. And this is the acoustic body. And there are so many examples what an acoustic body can do, but I would say the first thing is like, maybe as an example, like your everyday body, let's call it like electric body. it's sort of like in reaction, and it also functions based on the biochemical reactions. And when we start to function as an infinite being and sort of like transform the body into acoustic body, then it starts to function from infinite possibilities. It starts to create magic. So the body is something like a magic wand. You know, it's like you are Harry Potter. And, you know, in the story in Harry Potter, all the magicians, all the wizards need a magic wand. But the amazing thing that we don't need that because it's your body. It's the body that has this capacity. Like your body has the capacity to create a change in the physical reality. You can use your body to sort of like as a magic wand to transform physical material. Because every material has its own acoustic vibration. The acoustic vibration has information about how things build up. And also, as a vibration, it has the energy for that physical structure to be maintained or to change. And actually, our body is a magic wand because it can sort of like generate this vibration. And through that, it can really create a change in physical reality. Of course, the great thing is when we use it this way. So what would it take for everyone to start to recognize that their body is their magic wand? Their body is an amazing tool that they can use in this physical reality or multidimensional reality to create change in many, many different ways. So for example, when you run a body process and there is like miraculous healing, this is when you used your body's capacities. So everything that brings up, we destroy and uncreate. Like everything it brings up, we never use the body or we didn't know it or a group of people were trying to hide it from us. You know, they want to control us, so we will never know that we have this magic wand, that we can use this magic wand, that we can really create a change, that we have a power. So everything that brings up, we now destroy and uncreate, eliminate and eradicate. And actually, what would it take for, again, for everyone to recognize the amazing capacities of the body? And it's a really amazing thing that the body doesn't have a point of view about us. And it's amazing. And at the same time, it's like a curse because at the same time, we see that the body doesn't always respond to us, but it's the result of the many contradictory commands that we give to the body. Like, you know, and a command is the way you look at the body, the way you think about your body, all the points of view you have about the body. So, for example, it's like you have an amazing magical body that can truly embody you and your capacities, but we look at it as, let's say, as a low quality car, like an old, rusty, not very usable car. And on the other side, we have a Ferrari. So you sit in a Ferrari and you drive a Ferrari, but you don't know it is a Ferrari. And I think this is the biggest problem. And from the moment we start to see it, how magical it is, we start to see all its capacities, or we give that space to the body, then it starts to show it what it can really contribute or create for us. And actually, the whole purpose of the class is about open up our reality, open up our space, that our body is really magical and we could start to use it in many ways. But it's not just about the clearings, and it's not just about the so many information and the different methods how we can open it up. It's also about letting go of, or yeah, getting rid of all the implants and all the programs that were placed into the body and into the being. So sort of like we have so many programs in the being as well that doesn't allow us, the being, to recognize the amazing capacities of the body. And we received so many questions, and I think we could go through the questions. I will share in the chat box, like one by one. Okay, let's say first question. Or not. No.
Shall I translate you the question, Rocco?
If you could translate it to me, that would be lovely as well.
Yeah. So I have to find a way to have the question to translate at the same time to you.
If you say it in French,
Okay,
and
so,
then you tell it me now, then it's done. You say it in French,
is that energy part of us from the birth?
Okay, cool. So if you say it in French. Okay. So it's a good question. It's not about birth. It's about the body, and it's about the being. So the body is created a way that it has this capacity. So from the very beginning, the body has that capacity. But and the body is created like with a clean slate. But a programming of the body starts even. Here comes the problem. The programming of the body starts when before it is created. So like before let's say it is created in the mother's womb. Like your body is even programmed when your mother was just 10 or 12 years old. Because your mother, let's say your mother asked the parents, like, hey, mom, if I will have a son, how will it look like? And the grandmother, like your grandmother, says like, oh, if you have a son, then, look grandpa, look great-great-grandpa. They have like long nose, big mouth, or they have a very thick eyebrow. They are very tall, or they are very short. So if you have a son, maybe your son will resemble these characteristics. And if you will have a daughter, then the daughter will resemble, again, our lineage. Because look at me, this is how I look. And so it's sort of like a programming. It's like giving points of view to your mother, who is just a daughter at that time, who is just 10, 12 years old, maybe. And then labor comes, I mean, imagine that like your mother got older and meets your father, and they are, let's say, young, mid-20s, and your father also have points of view about if he would have a child, how it would look like, because in their family, in their lineage, how men and how women looks like, sort of. So there is this kind of pre-programming, and we could say it is genetics, but if like by now science proved that genetics and DNA can change over one lifetime in one body. So the thing is that everything is a result of this pre-programming. Of course, there are natural, let's say, original characteristics, but the original characteristic is that whatever program you put into the body, it will embody that. The greatest program would be the infinite being by itself. But for various reasons, let's say, in order to survive, in order to fit in, into the tribe, into the family, because of that, sorry, there is a question. S'il vous plaît, comment avoir access à la traduction en français? Merci. So how to have access to the French traduction? It's about select.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it again in French.
Okay.
Pour ah bah merci Salama. Oui, il faut juste appuyer sur il y a marqué écouter en et il y a un petit V comme ça, il y a marqué là vous avez sûrement audio principal et si vous cliquez sur le petit V, normalement vous pouvez choisir français ou anglais. Il suffit de cliquer sur français.
Thank you. Okay, so where we were, it was about, yeah. So for example, again, there is an amazing part about the body. You can program your body. The problem is that you program your body not just consciously, but unconsciously. And it's not just you who is programming your body. It's your parents' point of view, your grandparents' points of view, anyone else's points of view that for some reason we are sort of like be loyal to all these people. There are so many, let's say, programs we have, and we bought into these programs as beings as well, that in order to survive, I need to be loyal, and also I need to look like as my parents, as my family. Because if I don't look like as them, then, they will figure it out like I don't belong to them and they will not nurture me. And as a baby, I'm done. So there are so many programs and most of the programs are not created now, but in hundreds or thousands of years ago and even before. But all these programs in the past, they served survival. But these are not the programs of an infinite being, let's say. These are the programs of sort of like helping to get over hard times without being conscious enough. Because unfortunately, for some reason, over thousands or I don't know, over a long time, we sort of like lost the capacity to be continuously conscious. It's not something we don't have anymore. We just not educated that way and we don't practice it. And unfortunately, that's enough. But the good thing is the information was always available. It's part of us. It's part of who we are. It's part of our very nature. It's part of the acoustic wave. So this is one of the big sort of like part of the class to connect us again to the space of the infinite being who we truly be. So like bring this up again and we can step into that energy, step into that space. So let's say any program we have is sort of like not necessary because these programs were just implanted into the body. Most of the programs, when they were implanted, we agreed to it. We said like, okay, that's required. It's necessary. But there is another question. Today, in the 21st century, do we still need these programs? Or can we now sort of like revise these programs, check these programs? Like, let's say, is it true that you are not allowed to do anything as an adult in the 21st century, that would go against the rules of your family. Like you cannot disagree with your parents, you know, like maybe 500 years ago it was true, because then they would reject you or expel you from the tribe. But nowadays, it's not true. You know, you can have disagreement. And at the same time, if you had any kind of, let's say, genetic illness that you inherited from your parents, you could let it go. You could clear that. Because you know, it's not necessary anymore. It's not necessary to pick up all the genetic, let's say, illnesses in order to prove that you belong to the family. And it's like no one is really choosing or looking at it from that point of view. Like people say, oh, I have a genetically inherited disease, therefore I cannot change it because I get the DNA that is fixed and cannot change. Therefore, I will have and live with this kind of a disease. But again, you can change it. And, you know, this is the part when we start to really use the acoustic body to change the DNA, to change all of these kind of illnesses or, let's say, weaknesses. Cool. Let's look at the question. Someone says to découvrir le sens du mot. It's like discover the meaning of the word of acoustic body. Yeah, this is what we are talking about. What is actually acoustic body? And actually, there are so many examples of how the acoustic body shows up, how the acoustic body is represented, or what capacities it has. And during the classes, these possibilities and these examples were showing up. Like one of the example is that your body has a capacity to like recover itself even immediately or within seconds. And when we had the very first acoustic body class in China, in Beijing, then there was a lady who had an eyesight issue. Like she had issues with like reading. So he has this kind of an eye glasses that is very thick glasses, and it's combined for reading and look to the distance. So she had both problems, and she was just around 30 years old. And I started to facilitate her at the class about seeing to the distance. And what came up that when she was a child, like she had this memory. And as a result of the facilitation and the tools, what we learn at the class, she started to sort of like connect herself to that moment, to those situations. Like what is the energy logged into her eyesight, logged into the eyes, into the brain, or whichever part that is controlling eyesight. And it was that her parents were having like verbal fight with each other and she, like many times, and she didn't like it. And this, as a trauma, she logged that implant into the eyes. And that created this eyesight problem that she was unable to look to the distance. And when, like after this 10-15 minutes of facilitation, her eyesight improved. Like suddenly she was able to see to the distance clearly. So she took off the glasses and she was seeing what's on the wall so far. So it was really amazing, but the short-sightedness was not yet fixed. And then we started to work on that as well during the class. And again, it was like 10-15 minutes. And the first thing came up for her is a memory of her uncle who was sexually abusing her when she was only 10 years old. And, you know, I guess the uncle was like very close to her, like in front of her eyes, like 10, like that distance as you would read a book, like 10, 15, 20 centimeters. And this is what was the other thing that she logged into her body, into her eyes. And then we cleared it. And then her short-sightedness was immediately recovered. So she was able to put down the glasses and look to the distance clearly and see and read books. And that's it. And the whole thing altogether took like 30 minutes. And just imagine that we are programming our bodies consciously and unconsciously. We lock so many things into the body that has an effect, not just energetically, but physically as well. And you could go to a doctor and try so many remedies, but maybe none of that will work until you remove and you sort of like treat these kind of implants. It is like, I wouldn't say like reprogramming the body, but I would say like deprogramming, like getting rid of the programs from the body. This is why we call this whole process is like depolarizing, because we have like any program connects to us through polarity. Polarity is a point of view. Polarity is what is right or wrong, what is significant or not significant. So by sort of like getting rid of the polarity, you can get rid of these programs as well. And this is another part of the class, what is like a key part of the class. Cool. So I think, so like, this is it for today. And next week, Monday, 8 p.m., we will meet again at the same time, the same link, and we will go further with the questions and yeah, and discussing the questions. And if you have any questions until then, please send us a message either to Danae or Ludmila, and then we can pick up those questions as well next time. So hope to see you next time. It's 8 p.m. next Monday, which is the 29th, of April at 8 p.m. Central European time or Paris time. And we continue talking about all the questions and the topics. Thank you again for being with us and for your questions, and hope it was useful. And see you next time. Have a lovely week. And what would it take for you to start using only this information that we started to share? Like what space this can open up for you, and which many ways it can inspire you and your awareness. Well, merci beaucoup, and thank you so much. Thank you, Ludmila and Danai and everyone, and see you next time. Bye-bye.